Week 6 of the fantasy football season. Here's a few running backs I looked at off the wire this week. The first back, Michael Carter of the Arizona Cardinals. Trey Benson, he obviously went on IR middle of last week. A lot of people ran out to the wire, got DeMercado, Michael Carter as well. But right now, still out there in 61% of fantasy leagues is Michael Carter. And he pretty much was the bell cow in the Week 5 tough loss at the end of regulation on a Joey Slye field goal. 18 carries, 51 yards. A touchdown, 5 catches, 22 yards on 5 targets. So Carter showed he could go out there, do a little bit of everything for this Arizona Cardinal team. James Conner, we know, is out for the season. Trey Benson, he's going to be out 4 to 6 weeks getting the knee surgery. And DeMercado had a bad fumble, which looking back cost the ball game for the Arizona Cardinals, where he had an easy run in. It would have been a 77-yard touchdown. And then he just drops the ball before the end zone. And then obviously it was a touchback where DeMercado only the 3 carries, the 81 yards. And obviously that big blunder in that ball game. So Michael Carter, he's the man over there. We saw last season, towards the end of the year, Carter got 75% of the snap share in the backfield as well, where they had these similar injuries, was Arizona. And after a big week it was for Carter, over 15 fantasy points in PPR leagues. Definitely a top running back here this week. The next running back, Kendre Miller of the New Orleans Saints. I mentioned Miller last week is a nice pickup, but he's still out there as well in tons of fantasy leagues in 69%. So the last 2 weeks, definitely ramping up his touches. Week 3 at Seattle, 7 carries, 27 yards, 2 catches, 9 yards. Week 4, Buffalo, 11 carries, 65 yards, a touchdown. Week 5 versus the Giants, 10 carries, 41 yards, a catch, 8 yards. He outplayed, outsnapped Kamara in that game, was Kendre Miller. And he's playing good football right now. We also heard rumors that Kamara's on the trade block. And we know this New Orleans Saints team's going nowhere. 1-4 in the season. Yes, it was a nice victory in Week 5 versus the Giants. But Kamara, they're trying to keep him healthy, I think, a little bit, that they could trade him at the deadline. And like I said, Kamara, 8 for 27 and 4 for 28. So Kendre Miller right now, well, he's splitting with Kamara and even out-touched him in the Week 5 game versus the New York Giants. Definitely a running back to go out there and add this week. The next running back, Isaiah Davis of the New York Jets. Obviously, Breece Hall, he's the bell cow over there with the way better back. But now with the Brandon Allen injury going back to Week 4 in the loss at the Miami Dolphins, he's going to miss possibly the whole season with the knee injury. Isaiah Davis, he's stepping in, and now he's going to be the handcuff and the passing downs back at times for this New York Jet team. So Week 4, we got more run at the Dolphins, 3 carries, 9 yards, 2 catches, 18 yards. And then Week 5 versus the Cowboys, a carry, 5 yards, 3 catches, 28 yards. He's more of a deeper league ad. Week 6, a very tough matchup versus the Denver Broncos in London. This game's going to be. And this New York Jet team, another lost season. It is 0-5 on the season for them. Allen, like I said, is going to be out. And Breece Hall, definitely a trade candidate in the next few weeks as well to get shipped off to a contender where it doesn't look like the Jets want to pay him. That's where Davis really could step in and have a lot of fantasy value. So right now, while he's out there in 95% of fantasy leagues and working his way in a little bit with this New York Jet team, getting some touches with the Allen injury. Definitely an ad this week. Next running back, Kamini Vidal of the Los Angeles Chargers. So we saw Maureen Hampton. He went down in that ball game, and Vidal stepped in, and he looked good on some of the touches he had, even though he was short of scoring a touchdown. So Vidal, he was on the practice squad and picked last season in the NFL draft, but obviously hasn't seen the field. But now, if Hampton's out, I think it's going to be a committee back there with Vidal and Haskins, who I'm going to mention next as an answer. Vidal, like I said, he got the work once Hampton went down with the ankle injury. 4 carries, 18 yards, a catch, a yard in that ball game. And Week 6, it's a good matchup with the Dolphins. I give up the 7th most fantasy points to running backs on the season, and we just saw Rico Dottle go out there and go over 200 yards. So right now, well, Vidal looks like he's the next man in line if Hampton misses time with that ankle injury. Definitely an ad this week. Next running back, Hassan Haskins of the Los Angeles Chargers. Haskins, he got work as well. 5 carries, 13 yards, a catch, 2 yards in that loss versus the Commanders in Week 5. And he's a more physical back in between the tackles, where Vidal is more the finesse and passing downs type of back. So like I said, we'll see how the injury is for Amari and Hampton. We don't know if he's going to miss time or not in this backfield for this Los Angeles Charger team, but definitely something to keep an eye on. And if the word comes out he's out a couple weeks or even longer than that, Hampton on Monday or Tuesday, these are going to be big waiver wire priorities, and both these running backs are available in 99% of fantasy leagues. That's a few running backs I looked at off the wire for week 6 of the fantasy football season.